Hello, everyone. I'm Katrin Alhaug. I'm here with Lisa Marie and Geraldine and Mike, and we're talking to Lisa today about her intro nights that she's going to have in Oslo. And we're going to start again. I'm sorry. I lost
Oh,
the plot.
no, no, we're not because it's live and I have to set it all up again. So you're just going to keep going.
Oh, well, there we go. I lost the plot. Creating possibilities, nurturing possibilities, people.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, Lisa, what can you tell us about nurturing possibilities?
Well, nurturing creative possibilities, because most people try to create their life from this very sort of set menu of choices. Let's just put it that way. It's like, oh, well, I need to find a nice man, get married, have 2 kids, get a dog, nice house with a white picket fence. And, or I need to get a degree, I need to get a good job. Like there's these kind of sets of things that people think, oh, this is what, living's all about. And one of the things that I love doing with Creativity Lab is expanding those possibilities into so much more than that. Because a lot of people think that they're not creative, and a lot of people judge themselves for sort of never really putting into play the ideas that they would like to create in the world. And so in these intro nights, what we do is talk about all of the possibilities, all of the different ways that you can begin to create your ideas. And I mean, you've been to quite a few of my intro nights actually now. It's amazing how many times I've been to Oslo. It always surprises me.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell people, I mean, maybe some of the things that you've experienced?
Right, and it's interesting because we have done a lot of things together now, and I just was thinking about the first intro night that I went to, that I came to it and I thought, what is all of this about? I don't really have any ideas. And then within that time frame, suddenly I've left and I thought, oh my God, there were so many tools here. Can't we just continue on now? Because I felt like I came without any ideas, and then suddenly I was in the flow. And I remember saying to you after that, wow, I got so much out of just 3 hours actually really looking at the different aspects of creativity. And there were some very practical exercises that we did where I thought, wow, I can use this tomorrow for other things as well. So that was my experience from the intro night.
Yeah, and I think that's the very fun thing about intro nights, because really for those nights, there is no topic that's off limits. And like, oh my gosh, some of the beautiful things people have asked me at those nights, like one man, he's an artist, he's really beautiful and soft, and he was like, well, what if the things I like talking about aren't what my friends like talking about? And I'm like, oh, well, get new friends, And like, it's been so interesting to see just the amazing things that people are willing to ask and how much that changes things for everyone in the room, not just that person. And so it's like anything you would like to create. So it doesn't have to be artistic. It doesn't have to be painting or drawing or one of those things, although it can be. But it's like anything you would like to create, anything you would like to have different in your life. These sort of intro nights are very much about, well, let's get you started. Let's actually play with what's possible. Because it's so easy to cut off the possibilities because we can't see how we can get there. If you get really tied up in the how, then you actually won't even ask the question of what could be possible because you're so worried about the how. And one of the things that's fun on those nights is to kind of leapfrog through all that and actually create this space and this energy where you can go beyond the how and just into asking for things that you wouldn't have even dared to ask for before. So what else would you guys like to know about these nights?
I thought, Lisa, could you talk a little about what do you do when you have tons of ideas and you can't navigate in all that? When you actually go to your event, you get even more ideas.
So, you said there is such a thing as too many ideas. No, there's not. There's not. I promise.
But you can get a bit overwhelmed. How do you?
One of the cool things about these nights is that in listening to everyone else ask their questions, there's always things that apply to you. And like when I was going to leave my job, and I was going to leave my job for about 15 years, but I could never actually work out what I was going to do next. So I just went from job to job trying to work out what I really wanted to do. I think I had the longest midlife crisis in history. And one of the reasons that I'd never set up business for myself for quite a long time was that I thought I didn't have any ideas. And then now I've got to this point where I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got enough ideas for like 25 lifetimes. And one of the things that happens when you end up with a lot of ideas, and this is what comes from the processes that we're talking about, and these events have contributed to me having a lot more ideas as well, is that you actually begin to look at, well, which ideas would give you the most joy? Which ideas would actually create the world you would like to live in? Which ideas would actually create possibilities for more people than just you? And and everyone has different targets of what they want their ideas to create in the world. Some people it's just to bring joy, some people it might be to bring kindness, other people it's all about the money. And it doesn't actually matter, like there's no right or wrong with that. It's literally just, okay, so what is it you would like to create in the world, and which of your ideas is going to get you there the fastest and with the most ease and joy and fun and play? So that's probably a place to start for people, even right now. And what if, you could just have the joy of having so many ideas that there's just, every day could be a totally different day? What if you never had to bore yourself to death again?
Yeah.
And Lisa, can I just ask, well, for me, I love the title. It's like nurturing the creative possibilities, and it's the nurturing and the possibilities part of that makes me really excited. So can you just say a little bit about that? Because I know I've experienced doing course with you. I actually ended up being really kind to myself, which was kind of new for me, instead of giving myself a hard time. So maybe just to elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, I would love to, Geraldine. And I was really hard on myself as well. The whole theme of nurturing within Creativity Lab and nurturing ideas came out of really my own personal experience, where I had burnout really severely. And I'm talking the, can't talk, can't walk. I would just look at people because my short-term memory was so short. I didn't know what they said to me 10 seconds ago, And so I came from that space about 8 years ago into now where, if it's not kind to me and my body, I probably won't choose to do it, because you get to this thing where it's like, is life really meant, as this hard struggle, always working, always, pushing and pushing, the hustle. And I mean, I came from a space where it was all about the hustle. It was all about forcing things to be created. It was all about controlling everything and everyone around me so that I could get it to be my way. And what I realized was that was a pretty limiting way of creating. And it took a while to unlearn it, I've got to admit, because I was pretty good at all of those other things. And now, though, it's such a joy to wake up in the morning and have a sense of peace and space and actually just look at, well, what would I love to create today? What would bring me joy? What would actually create more in the world? And so it's the way you go about it more than what you create. That's the nurturing part of it. It's very much about the way you go about it. And, what is nurturing for you might be totally different for me or for Katrin or for May. And so it's this thing of actually starting to discover, well, what is it that actually would be nurturing for you in your creating? And when you start to get a real sense of that, you actually look forward to creating rather than it being the last thing on your list and, always procrastinating.
Yeah.
Wow. And so I'm just thinking again, for the intro nights, we have a couple of hours to be together, right?
Yeah.
And so what, in your experience, have people taken away from those intro nights? Would you say that a couple of hours is enough to kind of tap into what we're talking about?
Well, interesting that we've called these particular ones Nurturing Creative Possibilities, because I think the biggest thing they go away with is a sense of possibilities and a sense of choices that they didn't have before. Because most people think, well, there's 3 ways to do something, or maybe there's 5, But in my world, there's like 1,000 ways to do anything and to create anything. And so if you're not always trying to get it right, you actually go away with this sense of, well, what actually would be fun for me? What would be really interesting for me? How can I have an adventure with this? How can I create beyond what I actually thought was possible? So my sense is that people go away often with a very pragmatic approach as well, in that, like I've seen people walk away after, 2 minutes of talking to me and their writer's block is gone, So all sorts of things can change as we go through the night. And it tends to be an opening up of possibilities so that you can start to explore what you would actually really love to create.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And and I can just attest to that because that's what happened to me. So, and with that, then you're coming to Europe very soon, actually. The first intro nights you're going to have is actually in Oslo on the 15th of June, right?
Yeah, it's really soon. I'm so excited. It's like been nearly a year since I've seen you. Or actually not since I've seen you, but since I've been to Europe. So yeah, so we've got a heap of intro nights. We've got them in, or actually you guys can tell about your own, each of your own.
Yeah, so you are, well, you have an intro night here in Oslo on the 15th of June. So that's that, and then we're actually going to go to Kristiansand, which is really exciting because it's the first time for you in Kristiansand, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's on the 18th of June. So those intro nights for Norway.
Yeah.
And then in Killarney in Ireland, we have an intro night on the 23rd of June. Yeah.
And in Copenhagen, we have the intro night in the 30th of June, Tuesday night.
Yeah, cool. And you know, I think one of the fun things about having all these intro nights is that, you know, then you can meet me. You can actually go, well, you know, what can I ask her? And like people ask me all sorts of crazy things, and I'm pretty much like, yeah, ask me anything. I don't mind, you know. So it's a fun way to actually just come and meet me and see what's possible that maybe you've never imagined before. And then after that, each of those intro nights, we also have some one-day classes, and actually in Killarney there's a 3-day class. So all of that information for all of the different possibilities is available at www.creativitylab.tv/Europe. And yeah, I'm going to be there from like the 15th of June until the 2nd of July, running different Creativity Lab classes. And I can't wait to go because it's always so much fun when I go to Europe. So yeah, I would love to meet you and what's possible that maybe you've never thought of before. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.